brother, would you say majority of so-called black folk is asleep?
Of course.
Of course, right? So how do we wake out of sleep? How do we wake out of sleep?
You rely on others to try to help you out, or try to be self-aware of yourself.
I mean, but hold on. All right, so if we say we're asleep, right? What are we asleep to or not seeing? What information that's crucial to us do we not know?
There's a lot of different things. I'll start with one that gets me in a lot of trouble with some of my peers when I talk about HBCUs.
HBCUs, okay?
Those are white institutions.
They are. Yep.
I get a lot of flack when
you got
I
a
say
brother
that.
right here who knows all about that.
Yeah, I get a lot of flack when I say that. So things like that are in plain sight.
Yeah. Right.
Blind.
Right.
So they're focused on stuff that other folks want us to be focused on.
All right. So when we think about the foundational things that us as a people group should know, need to know growing up so that, we don't have to go around the world, trying to figure it out in this world. What were some things you would say are foundational that we need to know?
Generally, you're going back to like the origins of mankind. Where there was the Hebrews, black Hebrews who were chosen people.
Right. Exactly.
That's the most foundational you can get from there. Once you understand that, you can realize that you can kind of maneuver how you choose to maneuver. But when you maneuver, at least have to know what you're maneuvering against.
And it's great that you mentioned that too, because that's why we're out here, right? Because we're trying to give foundation that we're not getting in our house, no education system. A lot of places we go, the most crucial information to us, which is knowledge of self, right? We are clearly a people group that have been stripped of that, completely stripped of that, and have no idea where it is. When we teach our history, where does it start? Slavery, right? So the most crucial thing is knowing who we are, right? And not just because of that, then we can understand, all right, if this is who we are, how do we live? How did our ancestors live, right? And if we had a time where we were prosperous and people couldn't put us in the positions we're in, right? What did we do so that couldn't happen, right? And this is what we're out here to give, right? You got what I told you to read?
I got that.
All right, give me the 1 Corinthians first, 8 and 1.
It's book of 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1. Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up.
Right, knowledge puffeth up. So we can go around and get all the understanding. See, this is a big problem, especially amongst black people, right? We get into something, whatever we get into, and then we think, all right, we know everything because we're masters at that, right? And it gives us an attitude where, all right, you can't teach me nothing. Or it's a sense of pride where I don't really want to learn from you, right? Or what could you teach me? You see what I'm saying? We got this kind of this understanding because a lot of our people have that sense of, I know everything I need to know. So you can't really teach me nothing unless I got a suit or tie on, right?
And a lot of times it's all about sometimes where that information is coming from. I just read this article the other day. I never heard of it before, so I was actually kind of taken back to surprise. I spoke of how back during the time of slavery, that the psychologists of that time made it seem like black folks had mental disease. If they wanted to be free.
Yep. And the biggest supporters of that notion was actually Jewish white men that were the scientists and the experimenting on us and doing these things. A lot of them were Jewish people. You ever seen the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom?
No.
Oh, you got to watch that. You got to watch that. Right? That's a movie. It's in this, and it lets you know in the disclaimer, all of it is based off of journalism, documents, everything. So the biggest purporter of that is these people, right? Now we said, you said, all right, we know, we come from the Hebrew people, right? God's chosen people. But then you got a people who claim to be God's chosen people helping enforce the world to believe that we're the animals, right? And that they're God's chosen people, right? Right? You see what I'm saying? But hey, look, that's good rage, right? The Bible says that, right? The Bible says that oppression make a wise man mad, right? So if you cherish wisdom, right? And what is wisdom, right? It comes from God first and foremost, right? The way to live life, right? The principles, the chief oracles of life, right? And how you carry yourself, right, is wisdom, right? And when you walk in that, it gives you a sense of pride that is good because you know you're doing what God wants you to do, right? So when you're walking in that and someone's trying to tell you that a lie is true, of course, you're going to be furious because you pride yourself in walking in truth, right? So it's going to rile you up to hate, the lie, right? But again, our people tend to cleave to a lot of lies, right? Because the essential thing is they don't seek this foundation, right? These foundational things, right? We can talk about HBCUs, we can talk about building the community up, this and that, but it's like we got to talk about what's going to sustain that first and foremost, right? And the biggest thing that's going to sustain anything we start, right, is knowledge of self and how to conduct ourselves as a people in general. So continue reading this because there was a principle in this precept I gave the brother, right?
1 Corinthians 8:1. Now, as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge.
Right?
Knowledge puffeth up.
Right? So you could be as smart as you could know all the information you want, right? But there's a principle saying like don't let that puff you up just because you know a lot, right? You can know all these things, how to get money, how to build this, how to do that and that, right? But that's not what's essential, right? That's not what should puff you up. Go ahead.
But charity.
But what?
Charity.
But what?
Charity.
This is a principle right here. Charity, right? The reason why our people are not charitable amongst each other, right? We have a great sense of hatred is because of one of these things. We don't know we're God's people.
That's right.
We don't know we're supposed to conduct ourselves a certain way. We're supposed to be charitable, a spirit. Not talking about giving. We should be in a spirit of preferring to deal with each other.
That's right.
Right? Go ahead.
Edifying,
right? Building up your mental, right? Your spiritual, everything about you, building you up, edifying you. Go ahead.
And if any man think he knoweth anything,
right? A lot of people, they think like I said, we think we know so much. Go ahead.
He knoweth nothing.
He don't know nothing. Why does he not know nothing? He's saying it really doesn't matter what you think you know. Go ahead.
Yet, as he ought to know.
As he ought to know. He doesn't know what he ought to know. What are you? Who are you? And what did God create you to do? Right? Go ahead.
But if any man love Yahweh.
But if any man love God, which a lot of people, you'll ask them, they'll say they love God, right? Christ said, how can you say you love God, right, who you have not seen, but you can't love your brother who you have seen, right? Go ahead.
The same is known of him.
Right? So these are the people that are known of God, right? Now to know God, right? Give me 1 John, right? That's what, 5:3, right? But don't know as we ought to know, right? Let's touch on that real quick. Give me Deuteronomy right there. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Right? God has taught our people, right, a way to conduct ourselves as a body.
Right.
Every nation you see that is set up on earth have what? Laws, commands, statutes, right? We're a people group who we say, forget what our customs and laws were, forget who we were, let's just move somewhere and we'll live by these people's laws, right? And their customs. But a problem is everywhere we go, we see that there's loopholes in all these laws for their justice system to do foul to us compared to what they do to the natural citizens. We read in the book of Matthew where Christ asked Peter, right, who do the kings tax? The people or the strangers, right? Peter said the strangers. Christ said, well, then it's the people who are free and the strangers who are slaves, right? So the principle is that no matter where we go, because that's what we are, wherever we're at, we're the strangers. We're not in our land. We're not governed by our own laws, right? We're sojourners and strangers, just like we were in Egypt. The reason why we had to be freed from Egypt, right? We're still sojourners now. Right? And now that's what we are. We're slaves. We're being treated at a lower level than the native rulers of wherever we're at. Right? But again, this is all because we choose to cleave on to the customs, the laws, whatever is in the society that we're around. We cleave to the teachings, or we try to take from all the teachings and format our own thing out of that, instead of seeking where we came from, where our commands came from.
Question.
What's that?
What's the practical solution?
What's the practical solution? Right? Give me
Deuteronomy 10 and 12.
yeah, 10 and 12, right? Right here it is right here. Go ahead, read 5 again.
Con.
You get 10 and 12, and then hold also Baruch 4 and 1. Go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments,
God taught us statutes and judgments.
even as the Lord my God commanded me,
Go ahead.
that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Right? So these statutes and judgments are supposed to govern us as a people. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them,
Go ahead.
for this is your wisdom
Go ahead.
and understanding
Go ahead.
in the sight of the nation.
Where?
In the sight of the nation.
Right? Nobody looks at us like, let's go learn from black people. No, let's go get entertained from black people.
Right.
Let's go find who we want to serve in our businesses.
Right.
Let's go get them for that. Not, oh, let's go learn how to live. Right? Let's go learn about practical knowledge from God, from these people. Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say,
Say what?
surely this is a great nation and a wise and understanding people.
Go ahead. So that's the point, right? Give me that. Deuteronomy 10 and 12,
Book of
right?
Deuteronomy,
To the practical understanding is that, just think about it. We tried everything. Our people talk about we need to get financial structure and get together. We've had Wall Street, right? First of all, we're not even united enough to anything we build to sustain it because we don't have organization, military, right? We don't have a military strength. And guess what? Again, knowing who we are, God's people. Moses, right? There was a time when we were in the wilderness where Moses actually told our people, look, because we're actually going out, we got to go to war with all these nations so we can clear out our land, right? But we were doing evil against God. We didn't do these, what our wisdom was, right? So Moses told us, look, don't go fight against them because God's not with you, right? And why was God not with us? Because we left, right, our hedge of protection, which is the wisdom he gave us, right? So again, we don't even have, these things. Anything our people tell us we need to try, or we need to get together, get military. We're not going to, even if we get organization and military strength, God is not with us, right? It says, except the thing be built, right, by God, it shall not stand, right? Matter of fact, bring that out real quick.
This is Psalms 127 verse 1. It says, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it.
Labor in vain, and that's why all these things we have built amongst ourselves never stand, right? Or aren't prolonged enough to have the collective of our people come join it and prosper out of it, because the Lord didn't build it, right? First and foremost, the Lord told us how he wanted us to be built and established, right there in Deuteronomy 4 and 5. The law, statute, commandments he told us to abide by, right? Once we start there and we stay there, right? Everything else we do after that, it'll be established, right? Go ahead.
It says, except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain.
Right? And that's what's going on right now. A lot of our watchmen, right? People that are, whistleblowers. You got Dr. Umars. And I commend these men to a certain degree because they're still pushing good principles and morals to our people, right? But a lot of them don't have this foundation right here of how we need to live. Right. And this is why whatever they're pushing, a lot of our people, it sounds good to them and they clap their hands at it, right? But none of them put anything to practice as a body, as a people group. We don't put it to practice because at the end of the day, it's not what the Lord told us to build on.
That's your practical solution.
And that's our practical solution. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God.
Listen, good brothers, I must push on.
Did you get a card?
I did.
All right.
I enjoyed the conversation.
So I'm going to leave you with this then, right? Because the practical solution, we know the practical solution, right? But it's not just a solution, right? Again, we suffer because it's a solution to our problem, and why we suffer. But at the same time, we're required to do this. And that's why we really suffer, because we're treating it like it's an option to when we look at solutions, right? It's an option. It's not optional, right? Read. This is exactly why we suffer, because we don't do this. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
if a mob says, I require you, if the mob boss say, I require all my soldiers to do this, you think that's an option?
No, it's not.
And God is more powerful than any man that ever walked this earth. Right? So if he requires something of you, that means it's not optional.
This is true. This is why Moses didn't cross over to the promise.
Exactly. And that's because he didn't split, because he split the rock instead of spoke to it. He smoked the rock instead of once. Right.
Yes.
Just because of that. That simple thing. So the Lord lets you know he's not playing with when I tell you to do something. Right? So read that again.
And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God?
Fear God first and foremost, right? We read in Deuteronomy 32, it says, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal, and there is none that can save from my hand, from me. So he's the one that is responsible for everything that happens in this earth, good and bad. That's what we have to come to terms with so that we can properly respect, which means fear God, right? Fear, we read in the book of Sirach, it says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, right? Because when you fear God, now you have a true respect for how you should conduct yourself, right? Go ahead.
To walk in all his ways.
To walk in his ways.
And to serve the Lord thy God.
To love him. Go ahead.
And to love him.
Go ahead.
And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Right, so all of that. What does that look like though? Read.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
To do what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
What does it look like to love thy God?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
What does it look like to serve thy God?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
And why?
And his statutes.
Go ahead.
Which I command thee this day for thy good.
For his good.
For thy good.
Nah, it makes the Most High God feel good.
For thy good.
It's for our good that we keep these laws, statutes, commandments. Because this is what's going to stop us from self-hate. This is going to clean self-hatred. This is going to clean financial instability, right? This is going to clean up mental instability, right? We're the lead in most of the biggest diseases, right? Mental illness, sicknesses, plagues, right? And you read Deuteronomy 28, it says that if we don't do these laws, statutes, and commandments, these are the specific curses that would come on his people. Mental illness, right? Fatherless households. These are literally written in there. But it also says that these curses are actually a sign who God's people are. So the same way we know this is Ross because of the sign says Ross, right, it's the same way when we look at a people group who are just plagued with sickness, mental illness, fatherless households, self-hatred, right? Went into slavery on ships, right? These are all curses. It's clearly that's we fit that. So we must be God's people.
That's right.
Right? And if we want these curses to be reversed, we got to come back to our wisdom. That's the practical knowledge, brother.
All right,
All
brother.
praise
Love
to
you,
the Most
brother.
High, man. All praise.